Okay, let's take a look at the addendum to the seller. For the seller to be able to remain in the property, let's just read this line by line. It says, due to seller's request to remain in the property after the closing date, a sum of blank will be held in escrow at time of closing by the closing agent or such other agents as the buyer, that's you, appoints, until such time the seller vacates the property, leaving it in a neat and clean condition as defined below. Seller agrees to vacate the property within X number of days following closing. In the event seller does not vacate the property by the above date, a charge of blank per day will be assessed and deducted from the escrow amount. In the event the seller has not vacated the property within blank days following the agreed upon date, all monies remaining in escrow will be forfeited. Seller will then be considered a tenant in sufferance, giving buyer full rights to evict. Neat and clean is defined as all debris to be removed from the interior and exterior of the property. In the event property is not left in a neat and clean condition, buyer will have cleanup completed at seller's expense and deduct from the escrowed amount. In the event buyer is forced to institute legal action to enforce this agreement, seller will be held responsible for and hereby agrees to pay all legal fees and costs of said action. What I would do is I would put in this amount here. For the sum, I put at least $1,000 or more in the event that they have to do that, and that they have to leave the property within at least 14 days or 2 weeks after the closing. If they don't, then I would assess them close to $100 a day, or whatever their mortgage payment or the mortgage payment that you're paying. You want that plus a little bit extra per day so that they're covering that. And that they need to leave within typically 5 to 10 days after the agreed upon date. If not, then they will lose or have forfeited the remaining amounts in escrow. First off, it's never advisable to let the seller stay in there, but you may have situations where they just have not had an opportunity to find a new location or a new property to live into, and you want to encourage them to either move in with friends and family, get an apartment. Sometimes you're better off even leasing them for a week or 2 weeks, some of those sweet hotels where they can actually move into, and then rent them a storage unit to put their stuff into. If that's what it takes to get the seller out of the property, you would be better off actually doing that rather than leaving them in the property, because you do not want to have to go through the portion of having to actually try to evict the seller out of the property, because they can try to play lots of games, and it doesn't matter what document you have signed, it still requires a court hearing. You have to pay a bond and a fee to the court, and then the sheriff has to come out and get them out, and it just gets really nasty. So you can avoid all that by just not even doing this to begin with.